Yo, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Crypto, the Apex Legend Recon legend who uses his drone hack, and also he has a great passive with a Neuralink to that drone, and he also has a EMP as his ultimate. We'll go into a little bit more detail, but first, if you enjoy this video, as always, like, subscribe and comment. I like to engage with my channel through the comments as well, so I will read every single one at this stage still. And moving on, let's go to Apex Legends Crypto. Now, I recently had a game where I wasn't expecting to play Crypto, and to be honest, I haven't played Crypto that much recently. I believe I put a video up about a year ago, maybe a bit more than that, about how Crypto could be a future top tier legend, whether or not he can push despite being a non-mobility, non-aggressive recon legend. So this game hopefully shows that he is very useful. I still don't believe that he is an aggressive legend as such, but we'll get into the reasons why. Firstly, of course, there is his kit. Now, his passive is called the Neuralink, and that means Crypto and his teammates can see what the surveillance drone hack detects up to a 30-meter distance. His tactical is the actual drone, which is a surveillance drone called Hack, which he built himself, and it deploys an aerial camera drone, 40-second cooldown if it is destroyed, but you can fly it yourself. However, one of the biggest problems recently with Crypto, and we're hoping to see a change to this, is that you have to stop what you're doing, enter the drone via a sort of mobile tablet that he carries that's kind of holographic, and fly it around from there whilst your character completely sits still and is completely vulnerable and is to the mercy of whatever your teammates can do to protect you. So you have to be very careful where you use it, but of course the information you gain gets fed back to the rest of your team via the Neuralink passive. And then whilst you're flying the drone, you can activate his ultimate. You can actually activate it whilst you're not flying the drone as well. As long as the drone is out and placed somewhere, you can activate an EMP, the electromagnetic pulse. This blast does 50 shield damage, it slows players, and it destroys traps. And it's important that it will only do shield damage. If somebody does not have any shields, it won't damage them, but it will destroy traps. So Octane's jump pads, I believe, caustics, gas traps. It will destroy Gibraltar's bubble. It will also destroy Watson's pylon, I believe, as well. I'm not sure about there's anything left other than that, that I've seen at least anyway, and it's really the ultimate. It's made him a bit more popular in more competitive gaming, such as the LGS in EMEA, for example, because of legends like Gibraltar, where destroying the dome really impacts the other team and puts them in a vulnerable state. However, of course, Crypto has to hold back. He has to use his surveillance drone. He can't move and use the drone at the same time. And again, there are rumors this may change in future, so that'd be interesting to see if I do something else after this video. Now, of course, we now have Battle Royales and Arena in Apex, and the Arenas, even though it's been pretty disappointing overall because there's not really a lot to do, it's just a straight 3v3 fight, it's rounds, and there's care packages you can grab, there's supply bins you can grab, and of course you have the full freedom of choosing what legend and weapon you want to use. But aside from that, there's not a lot to do in it as such, apart from just fight the other team. But it is nice to have fights where there is no third party, for example. There's no gold knockdown shields either. That's the only item missing from the arenas. Now, Crypto in arenas is actually quite useful in a different way to how useful he is in Battle Royale. And hopefully in this gameplay in the background here, you'll see why he's quite useful in arenas. And one of the biggest reasons is because the distance. So in arenas, it's very small maps. Remember, it's a 30-meter distance for the scan for the drone, and also that means his EMP takes up quite a lot of space on an arena's map, whereas in Battle Royale you can be attacked from any direction. You've got to find cover to use the drone. There's a limited distance, I believe it's 200 meters that you can fly the drone out from Crypto. And so really his drone gets more used for its other passive, which isn't actually mentioned in his kit description in the game menu, and that is the fact that Crypto can grab banners and he can use respawn beacons and survey beacons without having to physically be there. The drone will go and do it for him. Now, of course, in arenas, that's not really necessary. There is no respawning, and the drone cannot revive people in the same way that, for example, Lifeline's dock drone can do it. So his ultimate role in arenas is to use the ultimate's drone EMP, but also the surveillance drone, depending where you place it in the arenas. And I got some good positions up here where it's hidden from the other team, but you can still see them, and they don't tend to look up. People don't tend to look up in Apex. That's why legends such as Valkyrie, Pathfinder, Horizon are really good, because they can get up into the air. Nobody really looks up. They're always concerned about what's to left, to right, what's straight in front of them, potentially what's below them if they are in the air. They're always never looking up, so the drone is really good for getting up high and surveying from the top and having that free scan down on the players, which will continue to happen so long as the drone is there. So long as the drone can see them, it will continue. There isn't a cooldown on that, such as Bloodhound scan, which stops after a few seconds, and the same with Seers, which stops after a few seconds on Valkyries, which is only limited as long as there's line of sight. Which, of course, means that unlike Bloodhound scan, you can't see through walls. Now, in arenas, this isn't so much of an issue. There's not a lot of buildings or hiding spots in terms of cover, really, on any of the maps. I believe they're all pretty open, really. I mean, Overflow has some more cover. I would agree, and it has technically a small building as well. But if they're in the building, unless it's through a window, the drone will not see them. So you have to bear that in mind if you think an area is safe. The drone just may not have seen them inside the building, whereas Bloodhound scan obviously goes through walls and you can see everything. So when you're in Battle Royale as well, therefore, if you're playing with Crypto and using the drone, same thing applies. You've got to make sure that the area you're scanning doesn't have the buildings, and you are still being careful pushing in, because you can't move and use the drone at the same time. You have to kind of place the drone 200 meters ahead or so far as you want to, as you can, and then move to the drone, because that's the only space that you know is generally free. But of course, the fact that your drone is out and just kind of floating around there means other teams will see that drone. They might shoot it down. They might just leave it there as bait because you'll go towards it, and they know you're going to be somewhere within 200 meters of that drone. So you do give your own position away a little bit by using the drone, but at the same time, the plan is to get the opposite teams also like location. And I believe like when you're in the air, unless you're using the drone, it will do sort of 360 scan, but sometimes it doesn't. So always try and face your drone at the area you want to keep an eye on. End game, it's pretty useful to have the EMP, especially to drop that Gibraltar bubble and to take out the caustic traps, but it will not stop Bangalore smoke or caustic smoke. That wouldn't make sense for an electrical pulse to do that. So he's quite useful end game. The drone, you could fly it straight up in the air, I guess, but there's probably really unlikely you're going to get a chance to stop what you're doing, go into your drone, and then fly it up in the air in the late game in sort of the end circles. And again, that's where Crypto could be useful, but to rely on a Legends ultimate kind of defeats the purpose of playing the game, really. This game is not supposed to be played where it is ability Legends. Sometimes it is, and we've seen that in the meta in competitive, that Legends are chosen for their abilities, not so much the guns. The guns are different, but Legends should not specifically be chosen for their ultimates, because that's meant to be a last-ditch attempt. That's meant to be a special situation type of ability. It's meant to be sort of the clutch situation or game-changing moments. It's not something you should be just using all the time and just spamming. Hello, Octane, your jump pad. And you see in the background that even though it's not going that so well in the early rounds, actually it really goes well later in the game. And actually my Revenant on our team, I originally wanted to be Revenant. That's how I ended up being Crypto by accident, because I wasn't looking at my screen. But he tends to go AFK a few times as well. So actually having a held back approach when you're playing Crypto really helps. Now this can be difficult if you're playing with two very mobile aggressive Legends, because you won't be able to keep up with them, and they will be feeling frustrated that they can't use the full extent of their mobility because it means separating the team, which will make them vulnerable. But if you allow Crypto to take the lead in most situations, to gather that information, and then the aggressive Legends to push, that's kind of how you have to play it, and it is a bit more of a slower play. So it's very suitable for ranked, for example, but if you're just looking to have fun in pubs, that's where Crypto isn't as much fun, and probably don't see him as much. So I'm going to let the rest of this gameplay play out. Let's say Crypto has some really cool skins, and his lore was pretty good up until a couple of seasons ago, where they kind of just dropped it, where his sister did get kidnapped, as we saw in his Outlands video, or his sort of stories video before he was released. And then she was sort of found, and he sort of found her as well. I'm guessing we're hacking the system of the IMC or the Syndicate, whoever it is, that are looking for him. And we saw some videos in-game that was really cool, sort of content as well to share on Kings Canyon and the bunkers. And then after that, it just kind of dropped off the map. Like, we just kind of stopped. And, like, we don't know if Crypto has found his sister. And then there was this kind of weird story between Watson, Caustic, and Crypto, and then we kind of learned that Caustic and Crypto had the same mother, but they're not brothers. It was an adoption thing, and that's Mystic, which we don't know if she'll come back into the story later in the game's life, or maybe potentially even a character. Who knows? Or something, maybe a bit like Ash, who narrated the arenas and was the shot caller on that, and then became a legend. So there's some very interesting stuff around Crypto, but it's kind of gone a bit quiet on the lore side. And also his skins are pretty damn good, so we don't need to expect anything from that. Although an heirloom is still on its way for Crypto. There has been rumours of a sort of customized sight he might use. I don't know if this will have a special scanning ability that works with Hack, or the same technology is going into something that Hack can do with this sort of one-time HCOG. That would be really interesting. But like I said, if you enjoyed this video, comment down below what you think of Crypto. How do you use Crypto? Do you push with it? Do you defend with it? Do you use him purely for recon and getting the beacons and just trying to support the team? In which case, you know, you're getting a lot of assists as we do in this game. I think we end up with 11 assists, which is absolutely crazy. And also just the weird kind of matchmaking that was going on with this one, with the AFK Revy half the time, and then yeah, that was an interesting game. Definitely worth watching to the end. I hope you really enjoy your weekend. I've also started randomly streaming on weekends, usually on a Saturday, probably in the afternoon, if you want to come join, or if not, you might see me on a Sunday afternoon. Either way, it's been wonderful chatting, and I've been So Average Kira. So whilst you watch the rest of this gameplay, please just remember to grow strong, to learn fast, and to always be kind.
To go. Down one. Care package inbound. Eyes in the sky. Care package coming in.